The next one that I want to show you is really about two-dimensional array. So here is the example for two-dimensional array. Now the two-dimensional array is we have the square bracket and the square bracket. Okay, two of them. So that's for two-dimensional array. If you have three of them, then that's three-dimensional. Okay, and so the first one represents the size of the row. The second one is the size of the column. So this is 4 rows and 9 columns. Okay, so this is the way how to create 2D array. So this is the way you're doing it. Very similar to one-dimensional, except you have to add another square bracket and also another square bracket to indicate the columns. Now, travel through is loop. It's a nested loop. Okay, so this is traverse 2D array. You have to using 2 loops. And now be careful. Normally the out loop here is the row. The out loop here is the row, and the in loop here is we're using I to indicate the row. We use the J to indicate the column here. If we want to know how many rows there, and we can just use the two-dimensional array name and say dot length. This will tell us the number of rows. Okay. Now, what about the number of columns? We don't want to say, remember, we don't want to say 4, we don't want to say 9, because what if we change those numbers? We don't want to go back and change the code here. So this will be the number of rows. And what about here? In order to say number of columns here, and we will just use the first column here. So if we say rectangle just 1 square 0, this is actually an array, the array of the first row. Okay, then if we say dot length, and this will give us the total number of elements on the first row, which is the total number of columns. Okay, now we are only focus on the two-dimensional array, that rectangle, and sometimes they don't have to be a full rectangle. Let's just focus on that the two-dimensional array is a full rectangle here. Okay, so this one here we kind of try to print like a rectangle. Okay, so we'll say if this is the first row or last row, and then we just have the horizontal bar to print out. If it's not the first row and not the last row, and then we check to see if it's the first column or last column. If they are first column and last column, and I will print the start of the plus sign to indicate the the row, or maybe I can just use the bar here. Okay, otherwise I'll just print the blank here. And so after I finish this, after from all here, after I finish the 1 row, and I will bring a new line to start printing the second row. Okay, so now if I run this one here, and you can see I kind of print a rectangle. And so the rectangle is, if it's the first row, and I will just loop over to print the hyphen or just one horizontal bar here, if it's the first row or if it's the last row, okay? For the row in between, then I will check to see if this is the first column or the last column. And if the first column or last column, I have a vertical bar here, Anything in between, I print a space. And that's how I can print a rectangle, okay? And so, of course, you can change here. You can say, hey, let's print a bigger one. Let's say 11, 29, okay? So I can change this number, and then I print different size. I don't have to change the code at all. So if I run this again, see, it's a bigger one, right? It's a bigger rectangle. Okay. So the thing about the two-dimensional, again, is we are using two square brackets to create a two-dimensional array. And the way we are looping it is we loop over the row, so we have two loops. The outside loop starts from here and ends here, okay? Wait, ends here, right? So start from here and ends here. So if you look this one here, then they are ending here. So the beginning and end here. So this is, say, we're gonna handle the row, and then from here and to here. And they say, all right, for each row, how are we gonna handle the columns? Okay, how are we gonna handle the columns? So we have to loop over the column and then print out different one based on which column they are in.